Oh.
See if I can get through this without being interrupted. Hey there, beer tubers. Welcome back to
Hi, Nick.
Scott's Beer Analysis 101 with your host, the guy in the yellow shirt,
my
who's
birthday
celebrating
shirt.
his birthday.
My
Is it your birthday shirt?
It is my birthday shirt.
Yeah, I imagine those orange pants are long gone, though.
Long gone.
Yeah.
But I've wore this shirt only one day a year for the last 10 years. And that would be on my birthday. But
nice. Except for this year, which is actually my birthday.
Right. But I mean, it's to celebrate my birthday. So I still wear my birthday shirt.
Yeah. You still wear your birthday suit. I would imagine if Greg would say if you were here, but
he's not here.
Wonder if the shirt feels cheated.
He's going to be here. He's just late. He's just not taking things seriously, which is your typical Greg. Speaking of not taking things seriously, we have 0 viewers. Let's move along to who we have with us tonight, which is, of course, Redbeard. How you doing tonight, Beardo?
I'm all right. How you doing?
I'm okay.
Good.
Yeah, Lee's not showing up tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, look,
right.
There he is. Hi, Greg.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey. So, what beer did you bring tonight in honor of the Fuzz man?
Made me laugh. I brought a can.
Pompous
ass.
English style ale by the Great Lakes Brewing Company out of Toronto. We get a 4.2% ABV.
What kind of style?
English style ale.
English style ale.
I think it's like a bitter kind of.
Yeah, like ESP or something.
Yeah. I don't think I reviewed it a long time ago, and I don't know if I've had it since. So yeah.
I've seen you drink it.
Well, you're gonna see me drink it again.
Honestly, somebody bringing that beer is a compliment. I'm pretty sure that somebody brought it onto one of those episodes with Greg.
Oh, I'm sure that beer's been brought.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, let's go move over to before I get to the birthday boy. Actually, I know he's next in line, which he will be in the rotation. I just want to talk to Greg for a second to see how he's doing. Hi, Greg.
Hi, Nick. I'm doing well. I'm doing great, other than being sore in parts of my body I didn't know existed. But
that's good to know.
Yeah,
is your weenus sore?
Is your weenus?
My weenus is sore from yesterday's activities, but not from any today activities. So weenus is on break. So
is weenus like right between your penis and your taint? It's like
no, it's just a penis.
No, your weenus is right here.
Your weenus?
That's your weenus?
It's a piece of skin right on your elbow.
Oh. Well, I learned something new. I just thought you were being very cute talking about my penis.
No, I said weenus.
So, my weenus
scratching my weenus.
My weenus is not sore, I suppose, but everything else is. Anyways, that's okay. I'm on painkillers, just like Dan.
It's time to mix that with alcohol.
So I have 2 possible beers. Neither one of them are super exciting, but hey, it's for Scott. And Scott gets to pick which one he wants me to drink. So, Scott, when I first met Scott, when I learned about Scott, I always thought Nick was the disgusting one in the relationship. But you know what? The more I get to know Scott, the more I realize that Scott is a surprisingly filthy person. So you might actually say that Scott is a deceptive creature.
Ooh.
Nectaron New England IPA at 6.8%. But that's choice 1. Choice 2 is as we know, Scott has not had the easiest. I don't know if it's the year or last 2 years. I have no constant memory, but I know Scott, it's only 10 months. Okay. Well, so I know it hasn't been the easiest 10 months for Scott. He went from flying high to low down, and now he's flying high again. So yay him. So why did Scott do that? It's not because he sat on his hands and did nothing about it. No, Scott was a trooper.
Ooh. Good draw.
And he trooped on. So you can decide which aspect of Scott you want me to review tonight.
Deceptive creature.
Okay, deceptive creature it is. I'll drink this one too.
All right. And let's go over to the Scott, the Fuzz himself. Happy pre-birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
To me too. Mine was months ago.
Happy.
This is your week.
Yes. Well, yes. My birthday's on Saturday. Same birthday as Patrick Waugh or Mario Lemieux.
Ooh.
And I decided to go with a local New Brunswick beer, as close as I could get to my hometown of Charlotte, New Brunswick. Out of Four Rivers, a blueberry, wild blueberry blonde ale.
Nice.
And the blueberries are locally sourced.
Fancy.
So it's in season. They're just in season now because they would have been harvested in August, and so then you take time to brew it, and then you pour it.
Nice. I can't remember if I've had Four Rivers blueberry or not yet. But
It's out of It's out of Bathurst, New Brunswick.
Nice, which is as close as you can get to. There were a couple of New Brunswick breweries up in like Charlotte or Dalhousie, but they're gone now.
Right.
There is one new one I think up there, but it doesn't put anything in the NBL.
Just local,
like artisanal. And there's like one that's in what's that place outside of Campbellton, Atholville, where all the Athols are.
Yep.
Nice.
Atholville.
Athol. Speaking of Athols,
it smells like Athols.
It smells like Athol.
No, really. They have a mill in there. Oh, the stinkiest mill I've ever smelled, and I've been in a lot of places.
It's the Athol right next to the Sugarloaf, right?
Oh,
There's
just down the street. Yeah.
a small town about 2.5 hours from here called Espanola, and they have a fucking paper mill or something. And you go to the whole town, smells like fart. It's it's pretty hilarious.
I think Espanola is like right outside of Blind River, which is where I got stuck for a weekend in 2006 when the car broke down, right?
Oh, I think isn't Blind River outside Ottawa?
No, Blind River's between Sault Ste. Marie and Sudbury.
Okay,
along
then
the coast of Lake what's Lake Huron?
Lake Ofuck?
Yeah.
Yes, Lake Ofuck. Well, I was definitely Ofuck.
What
There was definitely a lot of fucking that week. Anyway, but all right. Speaking of Athols, let's go back to that subject and go back to me. So, since I'm probably Scott's oldest friend and I've known this Athol the longest of everybody here, I've had the opportunity to have many beers with the Scott over here, over the years. And as maybe more so in his earlier days, more recently he's become way more adventurous. IPAs are no longer as much poison to him anymore, so he's definitely exploring his beer options more. But there was one beer through much of his drinking history, especially when it came to craft, is kind of maybe it's your gateway craft beer. I'm not sure, but this one was always one that I remember specifically you buying whenever we went to like a bar or something together, which is Pump House Blueberry Ale. And to top it off, I'm not only having this Pump House Blueberry Ale, but I'm having it the way that Scott likes it.
With blueberries?
With some blueberries in it.
Nice.
Jesus.
I feel like you should smush the blueberries.
No.
Yeah.
They're whole.
Maybe floating in there.
Smush a couple, get more blueberry flavor getting in the whole beer. I don't know. Super tasty.
Every time I go to Moncton, I stop by Pump House and I get a blueberry. Yeah.
Oh, nice. All right, let's
2 blueberry beers. Oof.
Ooh. Yeah, but the ones you're drinking and automatically ineligible. Or actually, you can still pick it as the winner tonight. I'll allow it. All right, so let's cycle back around normal order this time, and let's go to the Beard and ask, what's your history with this beer, and why does it remind you of Scott? I mean, it's rather obvious, but
yeah, the name it's right there, and look, like, come on, that's fucking like that's obviously a picture of Scott.
Obviously.
100%.
Obviously. Just had a goatee.
Reviewed this a while ago. Absolutely hated it when I reviewed it. That was before my palate did a shift thing, and had a couple times since. Now I'm having it again.
Nice. All right. Thank you, sir. Let's go over to the Scott and just say, what's your history with Four Rivers Wild Blueberry Blonde?
I've had it before. I chose it from location. I probably would have picked up a pump house blueberry if I really wanted a blueberry beer. But this isn't a bad choice. But we'll get into the review later, but I've had it before. I've had most of Four Rivers stuffs. Pretty bland Four Rivers. They don't go too far outside the lines. And yeah, it's 5% alcohol by volume out of Bathurst, New Brunswick.
Nice.
And it's inspired by the Four Rivers that flow in and out of or meet up at the Bathurst Basin and out into the Chaleur Bay or the Bay of Chaleur.
Deep River is this fucking town I was thinking of for some reason.
Deep
Yeah,
River.
so
I just scrolled down the Trans-Canada Highway for about 5 minutes to find it.
nice. So to give a little backstory where Scott's from, he's actually from like we're down here, between St. John and Quispamsis, where the Quispamsis piss up was in good old New Brunswick. But if you go up to the north, Scott's actually from this place called Charlotte originally, where he spent his first 11 years?
No.
First 10 years?
8.
First 8 years. Okay. Anyway, so which is close to Dalhousie. And Campbellton's right here along the coast. And there's your favorite Athol right here.
Yep.
Just south of like Sugarloaf Mountains right here. I think that's where the ski hill is. Anyway, so yeah, to give you an idea. So the
Mountain?
Sugarloaf Mountain.
That's a horrible name for a mountain.
Sugarloaf Provincial Park. It's a beautiful area.
No, I'm not doubting
really
it. But
awesome mountain biking trails there.
That's a really silly name.
There's even 2 Sugarloaf Mountains. There's
they
one
get some
in
of the
Vermont.
best mountain biking, from what I've heard. I mean, I've never done them, but some of the best mountain biking trails east of Montreal
in the world.
In Sugarloaf. No, not in the world. Whistler's got everybody beat. Whistler, BC. Anyway, so yeah, Dalhousie's up here. And right down here is Bathurst, which is like 45 minutes to an hour away from Charlotte, I think. So there's a number of breweries down here too.
Yeah. 45 minutes.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the backstory on that. Nobody cared about it. The geography lesson about New Brunswick, but we do appreciate Scott at least. Cool. All right, let's move on to Mr. Gregory, and he can tell us about his history of his beer and why it reminds himself of the Fuzz Man.
For the record, Carrie, I totally got your Top Gear reference, even though no one else did.
Nice.
That's it. That's my history. But look, it matches Scott's jacket in terms of color or shirt. I can't do the jacket or okay, there we go.
It's my birthday shirt.
Jacket shirt.
Do you like to walk around with a monkey called George when you wear that?
Do you have a yellow hat?
I don't have a yellow hat.
Oh, well then you're not in full uniform. But at least you're in part uniform, so you're better than Joe. So
that's right. Hashtag better than Joe.
There we go. So anyway, I think what is this sip number 3 I'm taking now?
Oh my god.
That's the history of this. And look at this. You want hazy, crazy. Well, actually, I don't know. I might expect we might be doing this on a future beer anal.
Well, is that the next IPA series?
Yeah, it's IPA number
28. We do have that here, so
I haven't seen that.
Why don't we do that for next week?
What's it called again, sorry, Greg?
Next week's beer.
Well, shit. Let me put it back in the can then. I'm doing the other
Yeah,
one.
no, you can drink it again next week. You can buy another can.
I am thinking though, maybe I should not review this one and review the other one.
Too late, Scott's spoken.
That's true. Scott has spoken. Well, I guess you'll get to hear my thoughts on it 2 weeks in a row.
You know what? You could just record yourself and then show up. And they'll have to show up.
We'll just replay this episode so you can be on the show.
There
It's
we
in
go.
Sudbury. It's not
right.
here in town. Damn it.
But
Oh, so you can't get it. Shit.
the collective art stuff, though, it usually makes its way over to North Bay, doesn't it?
I would
Or do you
assume it might not be right away, but like maybe it might show up like.
Well, from what I recall,
We'll give
I
it a
think
week then.
I think Nick made a trip to his beer store. What was it, like 2 weeks ago? And you sent us a bunch of pictures. I think there's quite a few things that we can get in Ontario. So, I mean,
Don't
we're not.
forget, I'm still sitting on a can of Oast House Barn Raiser that I need to drink.
We can do that too. It's probably better aged.
Is Oast House in North Bay there, Carrie?
I don't even know.
All right,
Let me
let's
see.
talk about this later. We're talking like it's almost like interrupting the chat with a beer trade.
We're just extending the episode. We're padding it out.
All right, so thank you, Greg. Let's go back to me for a second. I can talk about my history with Pump House Blueberry, and I'm not exactly sure when I tried this for the very first time, but I do know that back when I first made inroads into craft beer, like after I came home from Calgary in 2007, Pump House was the big thing to try. I was starting to dabble more with different craft beers, and I remember buying, I think, one of each different beer that Pump House had at the NB Liquor, because it used to be like $10, $11 or something for a 12-pack. And not a 12-pack, of a 6-pack. And I remember buying a whole bunch of Pump House beers and taking them to Fuzz's camp back in 2007 when I came back. And I'm sure that Pump House Blueberry was among them. And I know that Scott has been an avid drinker of this beer probably since around that time, because you were like really impressed. It's like, this beer's got blueberries in it. But I remember like the first 4 beers that they had, and they even mentioned on the can here that this is one of their original 1999 core beers. And like the original 4 they had was Fire Chief Red Ale, Cadian Cream Ale, and the Blueberry, and I'm trying to remember the other one, and I'm drawing a blank.
It was an IPA, I thought.
There was like some extra bitter one, but that came out later. That came out in like 90 in 2008, 2009. The extra special bitter or something, or no, it was not.
That wasn't the new one.
I think it's one that you can still get, but I know that was like Cadian Cream Ale, and because I was like interested in trying them. I don't think the blueberries lasted long, and I still remember like every time drinking a beer with Scott, and like I've had these numerous times too, even with the blueberries in them. And most of the time though, like it's not really a beer that I'll go for because I mean I'm only so much moved for blueberry, and also for the majority of the last 10 years, my favorite blueberry was the Ham River, as many people remember, but Ham River no longer exists as a brewery, so oh well. Anyway.
Yeah, I thought it was either the Pils or the IPA, and I thought it was the IPA. They also had a Muddy River Stout, but I don't think that was it.
You know what? I'm gonna get somebody to read the comments, which is pretty much all just Paul. Any volunteers, Scott?
Sure.
All right, I'm gonna put you up there, and you can read all of Paul's comments while I look on the NBL website and see if I can find out which that 4th one was.
All these comments are sponsored by PA Brew News, the Pennsylvania area news and views site. Cheers all. Pompous ass is good stuff. Definitely choice number 1. Happy pre-birthday, Scott.
Cheers,
my
Paul.
My sister's getting married on Saturday, so
Congratulations, Paul.
She's
I hope she's good in bed with you.
She's gonna get married on my birthday.
Who is your sister?
No, Paul's sister.
Oh, Paul's sister.
And don't choke on a blueberry. And didn't know you lived in Calgary for a time, Nick.
Yeah, it's like the red beard working at the Moose.
For a time.
Never happened. I heard about it.
I was gonna say, get Nick drunk and he'll tell you all about it in explicit detail.
Mm-hmm.
I lived it. It was in real time for me.
Yeah,
Did
you're the
you-
one that was kept in touch with me while I was out there and struggling a little bit. So that I remember, especially in the later months and the run up to coming home, Scott would call me every week. We'd have to sit there and have a chat for like half an hour. It didn't matter; it was long distance. He'd still pay for it.
That's-
I have no
Wow.
idea why he did it, but it was nice to know that somebody back home had my back.
because he loves his little Nicky.
Yeah,
I'm sure when you came home, he gave you a nice stomach fart.
I did.
Belly rubs, Greg. Belly rubs.
Now you're just being
Be-
cheesy.
belly rubs make the fart. It's how you brew the fart.
Getting drunk at Scott's place is one of the first things I did when I came back home.
I mean, I would do that regardless of if I was just coming home from Calgary or just coming home from the bar. I'd be like, let's go to Scott's.
Speaking of
Scott's get drunk.
Western Canadian people, Western Canadian reviewer says, "Congrats to your sister at PA Brew News."
Very true. Congrats to your sister, Paul.
Cheers, says Paul.
Cheers, sir. Ooh, you can see the blueberries.
Blueberries.
Oh.
They're starting to sink
Nick-
to the bottom now. They get
Nick,
beer
we can
log.
see your blueberries.
Show us your berries, your dangly berries.
You better, they're getting a little blue. You better take care of that.
I'm gonna get my blue balls. Blueberries.
Yeah. On
They're
your next
kind
year,
of-
on your,
kind
on
of
your
small.
next
You've been
year,
doing
get some more
steroids?
head. Yeah, Nick looks like he's roided up.
All those muscles.
My muscles. Holy shit. Going on Untapped, and I've had 32 different beers from Pump House.
I didn't know Pumpos had 32 different beers.
Probably just
Well, like,
random ones they've
over
released
time
over the
they have.
years.
Scotch Ale. That's what it was. It was in the green box. Remember? There was like a darker beer.
Yes, that's right.
I haven't seen that. That beer's been discontinued for years. I really wish they would bring it back because I actually really like that beer. I know Lee's not watching, but if he were, he'd probably be reminiscing about it as well. So,
You know, a beer that I completely avoided as soon as I drank it the first time and never drank it again?
what's that?
Alexander Keith's.
Really?
Yep.
Keith's IPA. Now,
I
why's
tried
that?
it when I was in university, and I immediately joined up with the Alpine Club.
Mhm.
And I don't regret it. The Alpine Club had better trips.
Nice.
Went to Mount Tremblant on an Alpine trip. It was good.
So, what was the deal on that, Scott? Like, was it some kind of like clubs or groups that you could get yourself into in college?
Yeah,
Was
in university. Yeah.
Moosehead and the other breweries so active trying to recruit the college level drinkers that they were offering free shit and drinks?
So there was 4 groups. There was the Alpine Club, Keith's, Labatt Blue, and Moles Canadian. And Alpine and Keith's were the 2 biggest ones. They're the ones that threw parties every month, had trips, stuff like that. Keith's didn't go very far, usually stayed in the Maritimes, but Alpine usually sent you a little bit further. And they giveaways and free beers and da 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 da. You had to go to the party to get them, right? You can't. They just don't give them out to anybody because you have to be 19 to enter, and so 19 to win, right? So yeah, and you paid $20 and you got a T-shirt or a hat or whatever, and then access, or not free access, but discounted access into their parties and discounted access into their trips and stuff like that.
What was that? One of the trips where you got that giant Alpine light bottle that you had for years?
That was one of the parties. I won that in a raffle at a party.
I think there's a picture of me hugging that bottle at one of your. I think it was the Hawaiian party you through at the apartment, which later became my apartment.
Right. Yep.
Probably have it on Facebook.
Somewhere.
Anyway, yeah,
That was a good party.
it was a good.
I
Party.
actually jacked the heat up to like 32 in the apartment.
So all the ladies would take their shirts off. Didn't work.
It
was worth a
Well,
shot.
To you, it didn't work.
Okay, well, I didn't know about after the party.
That's when all the hot sweaty stuff happened.
Did I thought I crashed at your place that night.
Yeah, you were the hot and sweaty.
I must have. Yes. I fell asleep first, and everybody had their way. I didn't even know about it.
Happens.
I mean, at least there was no. At least there was no tearing, so that's good.
No vaginal tearing or rectal tearing.
Well, I didn't think you had a vag, but if you do, that's cool.
But yeah, we don't judge.
I mean, you're talking about all sorts of people being
Nasal tearing.
Nasal tearing. Those sensitive tissues up your nose.
I mean, to be
Giving
fair,
yourself a real COVID test.
Oh God!
Before it was cool.
Before COVID existed.
I mean, if Paul was at that party, he would have given you a new sexual organ anyway, because he doesn't play by the normal holes.
Wasn't that an episode of The Boys last season? Pretty sure there's an episode where the
Here we
guy
go.
Make his own hole.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's hanging with Kaylee Hicks there.
It probably was. What do we got there? We got Nick. We got Kaylee Hicks. We got some girl. We got that guy. We got that guy. We got her.
Jesse. This Heist Almighty and his wife.
Was it his wife then?
Yep.
You should have heisted her, Almighty.
I don't know who I'm talking about.
I think
Dave Gilchrist, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've seen some of these photos, and I think I've swapped heads on them.
There's me in a Hawaiian get up.
You look so happy.
There's the bottle. I don't even remember her. Stephanie's the reason why I don't talk to Jesse anymore. Anyway.
Is it because she's a cunt?
A bit. Scott might differ on that opinion.
No, that's okay. My opinion is she's a cunt. I don't know her, but I just know that if she doesn't like Nick, she must be a cunt.
We'll settle with that. Oh, there's Crystal, me, and Scott, Dave, Lori. I haven't seen Lori in a while.
Mm-hmm.
I still see her on Facebook. Jim. I don't know who that is.
That's Krista.
Okay.
Haven't seen her in years.
Well, people drift apart, so.
Yep.
Sadly, legs don't drift apart.
Well, depends on your legs.
If they're chopped off in space, they would.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
There's me in a Sea Dogs game with Heist Almighty, me and Darren. I think Scott's there somewhere.
I'm the one taking the pictures.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of which, let's get back to the show.
If anyone wants to see the rest of the pictures, you want to see the rest of the pictures, become Nick's friend on Facebook, and you can search all his pictures.
Funny story is a year later, that same apartment would end up becoming my apartment.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's so funny.
Okay. All right. So let's circle back around and see what people think of their beer, starting with the beard. Beard.
It's a beer. It's really mild and kind of like the flavor's not bad. It's just there really isn't much flavor at all, to be honest. Like it's a little kind of.
Isn't it an English mild?
Yeah. It's it's kind of what it is, but I've had English milds that have way more stuff going on flavor wise. It's again not bad. It's It's got a nice mouthfeel, good carbonation. A little bit of a kind of toffee thing going on, but it just again barely there. Yeah, it's all right. I'm gonna say 7.5 for the style and 7.5 for personal enjoyment.
7.5, 7.5.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Beard. Let's go over to the Scott. And how's your Four Rivers drinking?
As expected, middle of the road, nothing too big on the blueberry, and it is a local wild blueberry brew. So if you've been out to Costco and you pick up blueberries, they're bursting with flavor. They only pick the best, juiciest blueberries, and the wild blueberries in northern New Brunswick, small and a little bit more tart, and that reflects in this beer as well. It's a little bit more tart, not as blueberry fruity or forward flavored. Pretty middle of the road kind of. They don't do anything to enhance that flavor. Still good, still very good. So for it doesn't have it kept its head, still has a little bit of head. Good lacing. It doesn't dry out your mouth too much. It still has good flavor. After you've swallowed it. Little bit of tart blueberry at the front, but at the end kind of peters off. All in all, pretty solid blueberry beer, something that you can sit down with. For style, I'm going to give it a 7. For personal enjoyment, I'm going to give it an 8.
Fancy.
So I think you could have done a little bit better on the style, having a sweeter blueberry taste to it, but it's still quite enjoyable. It's not offensive at all. It's quite good.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Scott. Let's go over to Greg, who's gonna take it away.
I'm gonna wow you with this.
Yay.
If you look at this, it doesn't really look like a beer I'd like all that much. And at first I didn't. When I first had my first few sips, I was like, this is, typical New England IPA that I don't really care for. Basically like chewing on the outside of a grapefruit. It sweetens up quite a bit and becomes a little more fruity as it does warm up. And it's made with Nectaron. My experience with that, both in hop water and in the few beers I've had with it in it, that I think were single hop beers. I find it has a very like stale cracker taste to it, like a stale soda cracker. You ever had soda crackers that are like past their prime, but you're like, well, the package is sealed, it seems okay. Yeah, no, thank you, good sir. That's kind of what I get from Nectaron, but I don't get that from here, which is good because I'm not really a big fan of that flavor. I do get a lot of drying in the back though, so it does feel like it does kind of like suck up all the moisture. So I mean, I don't know. It does have that kind of soda cracker esqueness to it for some reason, but maybe that's just my mind telling me that. Overall, I'm not super impressed by it, but I don't hate it either. I mean, I was going to go for a fairly negative review when I started, but that's something I could totally drink. It's actually drinkability on it is quite good. Not particularly the flavors I'd go for normally, but it's okay.
Does it have any pineapple taste in it?
No pineapple. I would say it's citrus, specifically kind of citrus in the orange kind of family. Like, let's say nectarine, since I mean nectar on hops. So even though I don't usually taste like nectarine, but let's go with kind of a nectarine-ish, and of course the standard, grapefruit. That's the fruit I was thinking of.
What was the ABV on that?
It is 6.8, so it's sort of getting in the upper echelon of a of a regular IPA. I mean, when do they become imperial? At 8% or 75%? I guess 8% would make sense. Anyways, does not shake your bones as much as Bone Shaker, which is 7.1%. That's a big boy. So, what do I mean, I can't really go super high, super low on this, so I'm just gonna say it's a for a New England IPA, an 8. For personal preference, a 7.
All right. Cool beans. Thank you, Greg.
No, there's no beans in this.
Good thing. There's no blueberries in it either. So
That is true.
Bean beer.
all right. So get down and dirty with this thing here. Is I've had this in a while. I forgot how good this is. Obviously, it's not as good as my all-time favorite Ham River Blueberry, which no longer exists. That's been a running gag for years, so gill it. So I don't really think it kind of lacks the smoothness on it. But what I am getting is like loads of blueberry that actually don't taste fake. I almost think like the biggest tasting note that I get off of this beer when I'm drinking it is it kind of tastes like a blueberry iced tea. I'm getting like herbal black tea notes, a touch on the grainy side. There's bits of coriander in there. There's lots of blueberry, but it's not like it's leaning towards the sweeter side, but it's not like artificially sweetened. It's not over like cloyingly sweet. It's just like a nice, gentle, sweet blueberry. I doubt like what Scott was talking about, where New Brunswick blueberries are probably a bit more tart. I think they definitely use the more sweeter like blueberry puree or something like that.
Wild blueberries are tart.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like, this is definitely leaning towards a more sweeter blueberry, but I do feel like it's at least a natural kind of blueberry.
Like in New Brunswick, they have blueberry farms, and those would probably be a little bit more sweeter. But a wild blueberry is going to be a little bit more tart.
Yeah, like there's like big swaths in the Maritimes that are blueberry fields, like Oxford, Nova Scotia. It's like one of those, like the blueberry capital of the East or something.
Penfield is the New Brunswick side. If you ever go down to
cranberry
Penfield,
bogs around there too, aren't there?
Yep.
Ooh, that's a good blueberry. I just ate one of the blueberries.
Yep.
No
Tasty.
blueberry wasted.
It's weird that I'm not crazy about eating the fruit, but I'm thinking that blueberry was actually really tasty. I guess the big thing I don't like. No. Eating the fruit straight is great, but like jams or like desserts with blueberries in it, I'll pass. Like I don't really care for blueberry pie at all.
Well, a lot of those blueberry flavors are just fake anyway, so.
Yeah, anyway, this for the style of blueberry ale, pretty freaking good. I'm gonna give it a 9 for the style. And an 8 for overall enjoyment. I haven't had this in a while and forgot how good it was. I'm really enjoying this. All right, so I'm gonna put Scott, the birthday boy, back up here, and we'll read the rest of the comments, and then we'll get down to what he thinks is the winner tonight.
Sure. I'm interested into hearing what Greg has to say about his second beer. So we'll do comments first up.
Sure.
Paul says, Alexander Keese, I had one out of Rhino's car trunk once.
I believe
that sounds about right.
I actually really believe that.
Yep.
Is that the Pepperette Fart Night there?
Don't.
The original?
Every night is Pepperette Fart Night.
Western Canadian reviewer, Big Daddy Dan. Before I forget to say it, happy pre-birthday, Scott. Paul, indeed. Paul says, back to the show, drifting legs. And Paul finishes off with, I think that's a pale ale bitter, not a mild.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be an ESB, extra special bitter, whatever the fuck.
There we go.
But is it extra or is it special or is it even bitter?
It's a pompous ass that thinks it's an ESB.
It's gone.
Typically, English bitters aren't actually bitter.
And am I a pompous ass in real life?
Oh, for sure.
Sometimes you have your moments. Most of the time you're a good guy, and then you'd be a jerk sometimes.
Oh yes. Oh, yeah. I
Sir
completely.
I've
Fuggle,
known
Sir
you for as long as I
Fuggle.
have. I will tell that to your face.
This guy's a name, Sir Fuggle the Double Bottom.
Sir Fuggle's double.
Yep.
And as you know, Fuggle hops are a common ingredient in British style beer. Anyway,
Hey.
all right. So, you're on Discord.
Oh,
jump on,
and
done. Sure.
our Discord will
hop on there
jump
after
off.
this. Alrighty. So, actually, I'm going to pan back over to Greg because I mentioned he's taking a sip of the. Who makes that beer? Marston's?
I have taken. No, it's well, I don't know. Let's see.
So is that just the normal Trooper beer, or is some
I think it's
variation of it?
Robinson's Trooper Premium. I think it's just the regular one. I don't think it's anything special. I think I don't know if I've ever had this one before. It's just one of those things it was some band I've never heard of, so I just like.
Was it
music?
Was it?
reference, you don't get it.
Was it in? Was it? Yeah. Was it promoted by Trooper, the band?
Yeah.
Yeah, Trooper. They're my favorite band. I prefer
Sure.
the Starship version of Trooper, but
It's a beer
you
that'll
know,
make you run for the hills.
even regular Trooper is good.
Boys, in
your
the,
life.
boys in the bright white sports car.
No, not that Trooper. Iron Maiden, not Trooper. Trooper's one of Iron Maiden's songs, though.
Yeah, no,
Just
this
saying.
is launched. The beer is launched in 2013. So yeah, I would say this is probably the original.
Is Iron
Which I-
Maiden's song about another band singing about a bunch of guys in a red white sports car?
I think Iron Maiden
There's a Canadian band called Trooper that does that song.
No, I
Us
think-
two were here for a good time, not a long time.
Well aware. I was making a joke. I'm well aware.
This refers to the medieval torture device that actually 100% totally exists and isn't made up at all.
Oh wow!
The Iron Maiden.
So I reviewed that beer at White's Tavern at Chad's place with Paul and Lee.
That's exciting.
Mr. Lee.
Yeah, Mr.
He left the confines of the
He
Maritimes.
left his confines of his house and actually
That's the one. That's the one time he
10
ever
years
went
ago.
to a. Well, actually, I was gonna
It's
say
the only
did
one he
go-
went to.
Well, okay, I was gonna say he did go to the Quispamsis Piss Up, but that's a little closer to home.
I said Maritimes, and New Brunswick's still in the Maritimes.
It is.
He
that's
got lured
true.
out of his man cave with the promise of pussy.
I mean,
Are we
Not working,
talking?
anybody.
yeah, that's. I went to London, Ontario last year, and I don't like to travel, so pussy's pussy.
They have
Would
plenty of sexual
would you come-
somersaults to
Greg, would you arrive? I said
arise.
arrive at the second Quispamsis Piss Up.
For what purpose?
If you got promised pussy,
Piss Up.
Depends whose pussy.
Scott's.
Mine.
So I was gonna say if it was Lady Lee's, it's just I can just travel to North Bay. That's 4 hours from here. So that's quicker than 13 hours to the Maritimes.
Yeah, plenty
Your
of
pet
time
Scott's
between
cat.
now
The
and
answer's
summer
no.
for
The
Scott
answer's
to do
no.
some transition surgery. It's fine.
So
your
we'll
pet
have to,
Scott's cat. He's got two of them. That's
Oh,
pussy.
well, there we go. So yeah, I'll need to be more. I'll need to know more about the specifics of how you plan to lure me. But potentially. But I, you know what? I would just go to visit Nick and give him a stomach fart.
Rub on the belly and big fart.
A belly rub.
Yeah,
That'd be good enough for me.
there we go.
All right. What do you think of the Trooper?
Oh, what do I think of this? What is this beer? It's just a premium British beer. Is it? I'm assuming it's like an English mild or some shit. 4.7%.
Just like the one Carrie had.
To me, British beers all kind of taste the same, and I normally like them. I normally do enjoy them, and this one's really no different. I'm enjoying this. It's just a very nice English bitterish beer. It's I quite enjoy this. I would give this easily an 8. Just I like beers like this. I mean, they never blow me away, but I can completely see why British people just will sit at the bar and have pints every single night, because you can just have a whole bunch of these and then not get completely annihilated, and they're freaking tasty.
What's the ABV on that?
4.7.
Oh,
So
that's pretty light.
I'll tell you, I've never been to England before, or
Mine's only
UK, or
4.2.
whatever the hell it's called. But I've been to Ireland. That's really the only place in Europe I've been to for an extended period of time. And the whole culture of them going to the pub every night, 100% true. This is like a family wedding from like 1998, and it was a fairly small town. Like, the town's only a few hundred, maybe 1,000 people, something like that. And it's like after work, everyone just walking towards the pubs. It is a nightly ritual. Every single person does it, or almost every single person seems to do it. Even some people that were pregnant, but anyway, that's a different story.
Jesus.
And they just go and have. And I'm not saying they drank, but they went to the pub. And there's a lot of smoking in the pub because they hadn't banned it in Ireland yet. And you could you kind of take a knife and just cut the air. It was very smoky in there. And I was underage to drink, but they still occasionally would serve me a Guinness or whatever, but I didn't want to drink it back. They asked me if I wanted a Guinness. I was like, no, I'm a Coke. I don't know. I don't like these dark beers. I mean, I think I was 14 at the time. So,
wow, I'm surprised you.
That's Guinness drinking age. That's Guinness drinking age.
I mean, like I said, if I had wanted it, they would have served it to me. They didn't really give much of a fuck, but I didn't want it. But it was like everyone just goes to the pub, and that's just the culture there. And from what I understand, England is a lot like that too, although probably not so much in like London, because probably much like Toronto, everyone hates each other there. But it's just very interesting, and I can kind of see why people would go and just want to enjoy beers like this, because you can do this, have 3 or 4 a night, and not wake up the next day feeling annihilated. Unlike Saturday, when I drank like 18 IPAs in a row and it didn't feel so good on Sunday.
Oh yeah, I felt rough Sunday morning too, thanks to all that bourbon.
Beer before liquor.
Right. All right. Let's. I'm gonna put it back on Scott. Scott's gonna read the rest of the comments now.
Sure. We'll skip mine and go to the next one.
Sure.
Okay. That's Regular Trooper, Western Canadian Beer Review.
There we go.
Paul says Judas Sabbath Starship. I would assume that's another beer.
It might be.
I mentioned Starship Troopers, so maybe that was what he was referring to.
Maybe Judas Trooper, Sabbath Trooper. No, Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, and Jefferson Starship. I don't know. We built this city.
Paul says he's thinking about showing up to the next Piss Up. I got another hangout in South Carolina, South Carolina, close to the same time. Maybe you can go visit Marson.
In Sweet Caroline.
I was gonna say I should, depending where you are, we should see. Maybe Marson will go and drink with you.
There you go.
Paul also says I'm brewing a Yorkshire bitter at the moment.
Nice.
Dan the man with the big banana says they go well with fish and chips. Chops. Nice.
Trooper or the Yorkshire bitter?
I would say the Yorkshire. Right.
I think the beer would go well with fish and chips too.
Probably.
Like English beer, English.
And I know this blueberry beer goes really good with fish and chips.
I've had it before.
Everything goes well with fish and chips.
Paul says indeed, and pork pipes.
Pork pipes.
Pork pies. With blood pudding on the side.
Dong.
I know.
Dong on the side for Dan.
Pudong.
Apparently, Dan needs a couple more beers. Black and white pudding for the win. Paul, I love England. Can't wait to go back.
Nice.
That's right. He went to go to the British piss or the English piss up last year. Not last year. What a few years ago.
And he's another drink and can't spell because he cannot wait to go. I need to meet my family. And then
that sounds like a threat.
Yeah. And then Paul asked, "What's next week's beer?" We'll get back. We'll get that.
We'll get to that.
We'll get that into a moment. I will pick what I choose as the winner, and my good friend Nick knows me too well. Is two. Yeah.
Nice.
I enjoy a blueberry, and Nick has chosen wisely on the blueberry beer.
Nice. I think there's the blueberries in at the top.
They go up and down, and it's just and you get them right from the pub itself. Like you get them straight from. Oh, geez.
Like a snow globe, man.
Yeah, it's just that much better when you get it from Pump House. Like, yeah. So it's probably one of their top selling beers.
Probably is. I know that they've had this in Ontario before, right? But I don't think you can still get it. But I think I tried to set up a BA101 on this beer once. I don't know I can't remember if we actually did that or not.
I thought we did. Wasn't that back in the days when Ashley Sexton was still he was a good friend but a deadbeat
Before he
dad?
went full potato.
Yeah, now he's full potato and I don't know, apparently a good dad, but I'm looking Pump House. I don't see anything from Pump House at the LCBO.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. They probably don't go that far.
But okay, no, that's not true. You have to put they have Pump House Crafty Radlers, but that's all they have. Yep. And it's Pump House, like two separate words. I don't know if that's the same company or not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's the right one.
Is it? Okay, yeah. So they have two, but they're both Radlers.
We did a BA101 on Pump House Radler.
So, hey, Nick, what's next week's beer?
You know what? We didn't really fully discuss this. We were kind of just making plans on the go. I guess that's just how shit availability is lately. I don't know who's around next week. So
we talked about Oktoberfest beers, and we talked about pumpkin ales.
Yeah.
Both of which we can do. And now, again, I will say, I know this is more of a discussion for offline, but Nick sent a bunch of pictures, I think it was 2 weeks ago, of various beers he can get, and many of those we can get. So
okay, we
can look at some of those. But yeah, otherwise, a Marzen or maybe we can get Marson to come drink a Marzen or a pumpkin beer. We can do
if he has internet where he's at right now, because I don't know if he lost anything down there. I think he's okay.
He does not have, and so he has internet through his phone. He does not have house internet currently. And there are areas that did not have power and stuff. But all things considered, Marson is doing pretty well considering how badly some of the areas around him got hit. So his house is still standing. There's no major damage from what I understand. The kids are still at home because I don't think they've reopened the schools yet, but it ain't pretty. Overall, he's okay. And he's an essential worker. He's making sure that the gas gets delivered.
We can't see that.
See. Yeah, I just trying to turn the brightness of my phone down so that you guys maybe see that. Sapporo Black.
Yeah, we can get that.
Okay.
I checked.
Chimay White would be a re-review, but we could get that.
We can get that, yeah.
Saint Ambroise Oatmeal Stout re-review.
I believe we can get that still.
There's the IPA number 28.
That's literally
the one that Carrie had a problem finding it. Muskoka.
Well, if it shows up, then good, because I'd rather not drink this 2 weeks in a row. So hey, we can do something.
Muskoka Major Tom.
That's the weird one. That's the one I can't, because I looked these up when you sent the pictures. That I can't get Major Tom right now, though I have the feeling it'll show up at some point.
That's a big pile of pumpkin beers. So I was thinking maybe doing pumpkin beers at the end of the month.
Yeah, we could do that. I think when I looked at that, I can't see from there, but I think when I looked at that, most of those pumpkin beers we can't get because we're Ontario and we're so fucking lame and don't get any good pumpkin beers anymore. Just the same.
There's like
6 or 8 local breweries.
Pumpkin would be the only one you guys could probably get.
We can't even get that anymore.
Really?
Well, last I checked, we couldn't. Maybe we can now, but.
Well, yeah, but it was just an idea. Like we could do pumpkin beers on a BYOB.
Yeah.
But what
about? We gotta fucking get pumpkin, but no, we can't get it now. Mm-hmm.
You don't you're around next week, Scott?
I should be.
Okay. So we'll do something that you can get.
Oh, we can get Samba pumpkin ale again. Sweet. That's.
I have a pumpkin beer.
I know. There's a bunch of Oktoberfest options too, as well. So you want to do what Scott suggested and do Oktoberfest next week?
Works for me. I've got one in my fridge.
Considering Oktoberfest season technically passed last week.
Now Marsden's count as Oktoberfest, right?
Yes.
Okay. It doesn't have, because I have one in my fridge. It says Marsden, but it's the same thing.
Marson.
No, I don't have Marson in my fridge. That would be crazy.
How bad was that storm?
He said crazy. He didn't say no.
Crazy. It's right. That's true. He didn't say no.
I also didn't say freezer. I just said freeze, not in my
So
fridge.
there's another thing. Like, okay, here's a good question. Paul, are you around next week? I might as well ask. And you get Chimay White in Ontario.
Well, Paul's not in Ontario.
No, Paul can get Chimay White. He's at because it's an international beer.
Right.
So I was thinking, like, if me and you, Scott, we can get Chimay White. It's at the store. I think it's like $8 a bottle, but
I don't know.
If Carrie and Greg can get it,
Chimay
yeah.
White,
Paul says he's good. Paul says
he's
he's good every Wednesday.
Yeah, Chimay White we can do. That's not a problem.
Sudbury.
Fuck.
Oh, really? Wow. North Bay kind of fucks you. Well, what you could do, Carrie, I don't know if what the limit is, but you could always have them shipped over to your store. It takes a little while, but you know if you do.
Yeah, there's some weird minimum order in that shit. And I don't even know what the hell else I want.
But you know what you can do? You can get around that. You know what you do? Order a bottle of whiskey. Doesn't matter what it is, Canadian Club, whatever. When you get it to their store, they give it to you, and then just go right ahead and return that whiskey, and you get your money back.
All right, Paul says he's in for Oktoberfest. Let's do Oktoberfest next week.
I should be able to find something.
And then we'll yeah, you should be able to get something. And maybe we can do like Chimay White after that. That work? And then we'll do pumpkins to finish off.
There you go, Nick. Now you're healthy.
Yeah, we keep anyway. It's yeah, you can see that kind of professionalism we have in the shows, considering we answered that question that Paul had for what's next week's beer with a 20-minute discussion on okay, what can we get? Because this is the only time we actually talk to each other.
Hey, people love to see how the sausage is made.
Yep, that's true. This is how we see the sausage is made.
Oh my god, I have to drive 1.8 kilometers for a Chimay White. That's terrible.
You don't have to drive. You could walk it.
I could, or I could bike it.
Yeah.
But I'm probably going to drive realistically.
All right. Anyway, I think that's settled. We're doing Oktoberfest next week, or Marzens, or I guess, well, you want to expand it to fall beers or just leave it at Oktoberfest? Because I think pretty much all of us can get that.
Oktoberfest. I mean, if somebody's really having trouble finding a Marzen, maybe you could like also do like a Harvest Ale or something. But like, I don't know.
Acceptable. That works.
Marzens shouldn't be that hard to find.
Yeah, I think you should be able to find a Marzen. Marzen anywhere. Like a good Oktoberfest. Like even yeah.
Well, it doesn't have to necessarily be good. That's up to your review, but.
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't mind the Sam Adams Oktoberfest, but I know there's a couple of Oktoberfests. Like
Sam Adams Oktoberfest is generally pretty good whenever I get a chance to have it. I don't see it that much lately, although maybe it's in the beer store.
I feel like that's kind of the default answer, and I need to go get a better Oktoberfest than that.
Yeah.
I mean, in my experience, it's one of the better ones. Because I find so many Oktoberfest beers just stupidly sweet, whereas like the Sam Adams one is pretty well balanced. And at least the last time I've had it, it's been a few years since I've had it.
I missed the Polliner one that they had here. That was one of my favorite Oktoberfests I'd ever had. But of course, there's probably way better shit out of actual Germany. I think Trailway.
I have a friend in Germany that could send me some beers.
Isn't that cheating for next week? You wouldn't have it in time.
I wouldn't have it next week.
Yeah.
But I mean, you get him to send you some actual like German lagers and let him pick. That would be amazing.
Well, I mean, German Bratwurst.
You know, he wanted me.
Send us our best, according to Paul.
I met him in Cuba, and we were friends, and he's like, if you ever want a job in Germany, you come over.
All right. Dan says he can get Pump House in Alberta too. I remember seeing Pump House in Alberta. I can't remember which one. Oh, the Manchester Piss Up 2018. I remember that. I remember you being out there for that and hanging out with Craig and Peter. Had my fill of pumpkin beers. Fuck you, Dan. I'm gonna have another one before the weed year's out.
Oh, Sam Adams Utopia is available, $2.29 a bottle,
All right.
or it will be available.
Good Lord. All right, I'm going to take this offline. I want to thank everybody for watching. Dan, Paul, and Lee popped in for a second. So everybody else who didn't watch, fuck you, except for Jamie. I love you anyway. So we're going to take this offline and look at Redbeard's penis and tell you the story about a man named Chris Peters and how many women he killed.
He killed those women.
Yep.
Happy birthday, Scott.
Happy birthday, Scott. Here's your penis.
Happy birthday to Scott. Happy birthday to Scott. How old are you now? Something. Penis.